Hello, today I'll be teaching you what is swaps. You have to understand first a point that swaps is a derivative instrument. It is most powerful instrument. Why? Because it is used by business people for asset liability management. So first let us go to the definition of swaps. From the word swap itself, you have to understand swap means to exchange. Exchange a thing with other. So there will be another person who is also exchanging. In olden days, we used to do this as barter system in trade. Exchange money for money or exchange goods for goods. Now here swaps is a derivative instrument, and this instrument is used by business people for asset liability management. In business, every people uses asset to generate revenue, and they have liabilities. They create these liabilities in order to procure fixed assets. But if the liabilities has to be set off, it should have a correct level of matching assets to set off the liabilities. That is where this risk comes to the topic of swap. Always there is risk in business, and if there if the if there is asset liability mismatch, in other words, if there is so much assets but not enough to set off liabilities, or if there is so much assets if there is so much liabilities to set off these assets, it is also creating a kind of asset liability mismatch. In other words, I was coming to say is, all business people, they like to see that they have a balanced set of asset as well as matching liabilities. Otherwise, they won't be able to set off the liabilities in the case of default, or in the case of loss of business, or in the case of any kind of business down. What I mean saying is liquidation. So this swaps, which is a contract itself, is a derivatives contract. It is an agreement created between two parties, and what is done in this agreement is two parties agree to exchange cash flows in future. Maybe it will be to exchange one asset for another asset, or one liability for another liability, or one stream of cash flows with another stream of cash flows. So this contract is created, the value of this contract is derived because of these existing assets or existing liabilities, and both parties of same interest coming together and want to exchange their assets or liabilities, in other words their responsibilities, then they can use these financial swaps and solve their problems, minimize their business risk. These financial swaps are not traded in organized exchanges, they are traded over the counter, and they are settled then and there. That's why we call this as cash settled over the counter derivatives, OTC derivatives. So in short, once again let me tell you, a swap is an agreement to a future exchange on one asset for another, or one liability for another, or one stream of cash flows for another. There are basically three types of swaps which we are using in financial markets. First one we call it as interest rate swaps or coupon swaps. Second one we call it as currency swaps, and third one we call it as cross currency interest rate swaps. Now we will go into this deep in the next section.